Sorry, a little bit dark here. Okay, hello everyone. So finally we are here. Welcome our three guest speakers from Yodo1. I am Muhammad Hilal, CEO of Aptechmedia, and also the host for this event. I welcome all the Pakistani developers community to join this session and learn how they can publish in China and how they can monetize their games more in a more optimized way and to increase and grow their revenues with the Yodo1 techniques and platforms. Let me introduce the speakers first. The first speaker we have on the topic Intro to Yodo1 by Huan Mirko. He's the marketing manager at Yodo1. Our second speaker for the day is Sonali Varma, the publishing manager at Yodo1. She will speak on publishing in China. Our third speaker for the day is Redwan Reyadh. She's the senior business development manager at Yodo1 and also looking after the business development and their MAS Yodo1 network. So I welcome you all to this webinar. Mirko, Riyadh, Sonali, welcome to the webinar. Amor, the floor is yours. First, I will invite Mirko to have his session on Intro to Yodo1. Please.
Thank you, Hilal. Thank you, Hilal, for the presentation and the introduction. So, if I may start, I'm going to share my screen. Hello, everybody. As said by Hilal, I'm the marketing manager of Yodo1, and I will now start the presentation and the introduction of what Yodo1 is and where we started. So Yodo1 is a one-stop platform for game developers around the globe. We started our journey in 2011 by publishing hit games such as Rodeo Stampede, Crossy Roads, globally, and also in China, and by publishing in China Ski Safari 2, and Transformers Earth Wars. So we started our journey by publishing these games, and we garnered a lot of success. These games became huge, and they had hundreds of millions of downloads. But there was one problem, that we couldn't help each and every developer to publish their game in China and globally, because we could only handle 4 or 5 games per year. So one of the things that we did in order to be able to help developers better market managing their games, we started opening our services to all the world. That's how we became a gaming services platform. And now with our AI-powered tools, we're able to help developers better manage their community, better market their games globally, and also optimize their revenue. So going ahead, I present you the different services that we are offering now for developers. KT Play, the community management tool that allows you to gather your players, 100% of your players in an in-game community in your game. IP licensing, that is, we take a brand, a global brand, and we inject it in your game to increase the exposure and the revenue of your game. Then there is MAS, Managed Ad Services, to optimize the ad revenue for your game, and our China and global publishing services. So let's go ahead and present to KT Play. KT Play is our in-game community tool that is bring a community to your players and making it part of the gaming experience. What does that mean? As you can see for Rodeo Stampede, one of the games you're managing, you can see on the left cell phone that there is a kind of a forum inside the game, accessible from the button in the first screen. The players, by accessing this forum, can just enter and interact with each other, giving tips to each other for that difficult level that you guys created that they're not able to overcome. So they share tips, they share strategies in order to be able to finish this level. And besides that, they interact with each other. You can interact with them by gathering feedback, through surveys and polls. Or one of the things that we recently did was the 4th anniversary event for Rodeo Stampede. By using KT Play in-game community, we ran this event by asking players to participate in creating designs to be implemented in the game. And Rodeo Stampede has both, for example, animals and character skins. And these were the two results, the two products that the players created to win this contest and implement this animal and this skin in the game. Through this community event, we achieved a 30% average increase in daily active users during this 3 weeks event, which brings me to the next point of KT Play. So what does KT Play for you? KT Play can help you increase the retention by giving the players another way and place in the game to engage with each other, to increase the engagement of the players inside your game by increasing the length of the game session. And also it can help you understand the player behavior. For example, there are some players who are very vocal in the community, who love your game very much and want your game to grow and to better its performance and its experience. So you can take all that data from the community and develop better your game and make it better for the players. All this, what does that do? It elevates your revenue, because by understanding what the player wants, by understanding who's the player who's most vocal, but it's also who's the one who's spending the most in the game, you can give more weight to that player's opinion and cater to his desires in your game. That is, ultimately, it can give you the possibility to understand what to do in order to increase the revenue of your game. The next service that I'm going to talk about is big, brands in games, connecting your games to global IP. So we recently got appointed as Hasbro IP licensing agent in China. What does that mean? Hasbro gave us permission and the possibility to manage their brands in China and inject these brands in the games. And so what do we do for these brands? The brands that we have the possibility to inject are Transformers, My Little Pony, Play-Doh, Monopoly, and Blight. And thanks to our expertise and experience with handling Hasbro's brands, for example, Transformers Earth Wars for the Transformer brands, we were able to inject these brands in Mini World and Battle of Balls, which are two huge games in China. We give long-term access to these exclusive IPs. We inject these brands multiple times for one game. And through our communication and project management, we're able to smoothly and efficiently communicate the communication between brands and the games for quick execution. And because of our understanding of the brands and the games, we're able to maximize the impact and the revenue and the exposure for your games. So let me show you a brief video of what the results of for example, our brand injection of Transformers in Mini World, the largest sandbox game in China. We took the Transformers brands and we make it pixelated for the Mini One game, adapting to its graphics. So let me now introduce Sonali Varma, our publishing manager from India, for our publishing services, and Riyadh from Bangladesh for our managed ad services to increase your ad revenue. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sonali Varma. I'm based in Beijing. That's where the Yodo1 headquarters is. And let me begin by sharing my screen. Can you all see my screen? So let's begin. So a little about the China gaming market. China takes 30% of the world's gaming market. It's a huge market with 620 million plus mobile gaming players. In 2019 alone, it generated a revenue of $22.5 billion. It's not a market that anyone can miss. Some of the key challenges to enter the China market are regulations, such as the ISBN, iOS and Android. Previously, iOS was an easier entrance to China, but now it's also getting much more stricter. Localization, culturalization. If you believe your overseas games that are doing well overseas, if you think and believe that you can bring them exactly the same to China, it's probably not going to be as successful, because localization, culturalization to fit the Chinese market is key, and monetization. Monetization strategies are very different compared to the world. So in terms of the key changes with App Store China, this is something that is a very talked about topic these days. So recently, most of the developers received a notice on the developers dashboard about games that will be removed from the App Store if you do not have an ISBN. So in terms of the current situation, almost more than 50,000 games have already been delisted from the China Apple Store. The games that have been delisted are mostly paid games or games with IAP in-app purchases that do not have the ISBN. Also, the rules and regulations in terms of implementing the anti-addiction policies, such as the real name verification, anti-addiction for minors. Games that did not have this also got delisted. Initially, there was a lot of talk that most of the games that got delisted was solely because of the ISBN. But what we see right now is that there are a couple of reasons why the games got delisted. So one of the reasons is, of course, the ISBN, which is paid and IAP games that do not have the ISBN, they got delisted. And the other thing is also that sometimes in China, it's one ISBN was used for multiple games, which is not allowed. And also games that have not implemented the real name registration and anti-addiction system for minors. And also games that are prohibited, genres such as blood, violence, zombie, or any political and gambling content games. So in terms of the Android market, there are over 30 plus Android channels in China. Unlike overseas, is only Google Play, one channel, right? But in China, we have over 30 Android channels. Each Android store has their own system, and you need to integrate their own SDK. So it's very complex, and it's not something that overseas developers really understand. Also, almost all the Android stores require an ISBN for if you're going to have IAPs in your game, and if you'd like to publish on Android China, you need to have the ISBN. So a little about how to get the ISBN, which is the $1 million question, how to publish your game in China. So the first thing is to find a local partner. Without a local partner, there's not really much you can do, because if you need the ISBN, you do need a local partner. So find a local partner, a trusted partner that can help you in terms of the licensing to get the ISBN, apply for the ISBN, and help you with your game in terms of suggestions with localization, culturalization, and also Android store distribution, which cannot be done by overseas developers on their own, and also to help you with local monetization strategies. So to give you a brief about the Yodo1 publishing business lines, our first one is, we call the hit game publishing. So the games that we look for have a very high standard. So in terms of hit game publishing, we look for games that are extremely innovative and extremely well-polished games. Visually very beautiful, high quality games. In terms of genres, we prefer casual, mid-core, and hardcore. And this, under hit game publishing, we include both games with IAP and IAA. So for sure, we will help you apply for the ISBN license under the hit game publishing business line. And in terms of metrics, we prefer the game has high metrics, so it has the potential to do UA and grow. Some of our published games are Ski Safari, Crossy Road, Rodeo Stampede, and Transformers Earth War. So this is the games, the genre of games, such as I mentioned Rodeo Stampede, Crossy Road. And in terms of the casual games genre, we look for match 3, innovative match 3 games, puzzle, idle, running games, simulation games, and in terms of hardcore action, strategy, and MMO. So our second business line is the casual game publishing. Under casual game publishing, it's solely for China. So hit game publishing is both for global and China, and the casual game publishing business line is solely for China, and it's only pure ads games. There is no IAP. And in terms of the casual game publishing, we look for extremely innovative games because there are a lot of casual games and there are a lot of copies. So it's very important to find games that stand out. And like I said, it's solely for the Chinese market. And the genre for casual game publishing is very limited to hyper casual and casual games. And the controls of the game should be very easy controls, things that, you know, you don't need to have a very big logic in order to play the game. And the platforms under casual game publishing business line is the HTML5 platform, iOS, and Android China. These are some of our casual publishing games that we're currently working with. We have Zaptolab, GameHive, PlayStack, and yeah. Thank you very much. And our next speaker is Prime. Let me stop sharing.
Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. If yes, let's start, guys. After knowing everything about China publishing, IAP monetization and everything, I want to tell you about game ad monetization. You guys are very good at making games, very creative people. When it comes to making money, that's where the main idea comes in. So that's games ad monetization that I'm gonna tell you about. I'm working with game developers from around the world. I'm seeing different trends in different countries. So some of the trends that I saw while working with game developers from Pakistan is that I saw most of the games are freemium, free-to-play games. Like they love making free-to-play games. That's really awesome. There is a very good connection with monetization. So when it comes to monetizing with ads, solely and mostly depending on interstitial and banner ads. What I have seen with case studies is like 60 to 70% of the revenue is coming from interstitial, most probably 10 to 20% of the revenue coming from banner ads. And rest, if few, is coming from rewarded videos. What ad networks are mostly used by developers from Pakistan? It's mostly Google AdMob and Unity. I'm pretty sure most of you can actually react to this thing because it's really connected to you guys, and most of the games are made in Unity. One very interesting thing that I found with working with game developers from Pakistan, I don't know if it's a requirement there, but each studio have at least 4 to 5 accounts on Google Play or App Store, and each account has more than 10-15 games. So each studio must own maybe 100 games if they want to have a studio in Pakistan. So that's a very good thing that you guys are very efficient in terms of making games. I know from some developers that each studio are making around 3 to 4 titles each month, publishing that much. That's a dream for developers maybe from Western countries where they publish in 3 months only 1 game. It's super good and super efficient. That's something that I really admire about working with Pakistani developers. With all the games that you are making, are there some problems that you're facing while you are doing the monetization? So from the talks that I had, you guys have a very good trust with AdMob and Unity. Most probably AdMob is from Google and Google is the Google. So there is nothing bigger than AdMob. And then comes Unity, the engine that you're using cannot be more trusted. But you're not using a lot of other ad networks. Most probably the issue that I found is like you wasted time while integrating a lot of SDKs, and the result, the eCPM, the fill rate, the revenue was not as good as it was promised. And then comes the technical support or support that you expect from working with, ad networks or, solution providers. So when you work with them, you do face some issues that you want to solve. Most probably you're not getting any support from them. Think about it. When was the last time, AdMob or Unity contacted you to give you some recommendations about your game, or make you some adjustment in your waterfall when you're using their mediation? There are some other third party, as solution providers. Your experience, what I have seen with them was like, when you start using their SDK, you have seen some ANR and crashes, which we never want, because that's where the organics actually increase and decrease depending on the number of, ANR and crashes you have in game. So with all these pain points that you have while doing monetization, what can be the solution? Do you want to invest time in learning more about monetization? Do you want to improve your relationship and give recommendations to AdMob or Unity maybe to improve their technical support? Will they do it? That's a question, So what's the solution? We are bringing Yodo1 Games. The solution that we have here is managed ad services, MAS. What is MAS? Like, have you ever heard of it? I'm sure a lot of our, BDs have contacted you trying to tell you what MAS is. In very short words, what MAS is simple SDK. In one SDK, you have more than 10 ad networks. Which are the ad networks? I'm gonna tell you. MAS is also an expert team. The games that we mentioned before, Sonali and Mirko, those all games are using MAS in our own games. We have an expert team who handles the waterfall and open bidding. We have a support system that works on the back end to help you with everything. What ad networks are used in MAS? For sure, the most trusted ad networks, Google AdMob and Unity is there. Apart from there are the huge names in the market. Facebook, IronSource, Chartboost, AppLovin, Mintegral, all are there. Apart from that, if you have users from Russia or Eastern European region, how do you monetize them? Is AdMob performing well there? The answer is no. The good ad networks that are performing there are local Russian ad networks, which is such as like Yandex, MyTarget. And now, if you ask me if you have game, users from China in your iOS games, most probably a lot of game developers I have found who have users from China. What ad networks you're currently using? Most probably AdMob and Unity. But in China, the most performing ad networks are, ByteDance, the TikTok companies, Toutiao, then Guangdiantong and Mintegral. You can see these ad networks, they perform very well in China. All these combined, you get one SDK, and that is, MAS. So after knowing everything about MAS, you now know what MAS is. As a developer, a lot of developers would reach out to me asking me, what do I do? What's my role? What I have to do to use it? The answer is very simple. You just make one account in Yodo1's dashboard. You don't need to go to other ad networks and go and make your ad accounts one by one. Make one account, integrate one single SDK, and update the game on Play Store. That's how simple it is. We have case studies where developers have just integrated and updated the game within 2-3 hours if there is no issues. So if there is issues, we are there to support, to provide any technical support. What are the things that we do from our side as Yodo1 Games? When you make account in our dashboard, we will be making all these ad networks on the back end from our side. We'll be there to provide technical support post and pre-integration. And after you release the game, we will be handling the waterfall management and open bidding system from our side. So you don't have to worry about anything about monetization. Now, saying about one SDK, a lot of other companies can provide a SDK. What is unique about Yodo1 Games is MAS. It's not only about monetization. It's much more than that. If you want to run campaigns in China with user acquisition campaigns, if you need advices to do it, if you need recommendations of companies, if you need a better strategy, we are there to support you. If you need a better app store search optimization system in place for China or for global, you need recommendations from us as a publisher, like one part of it. We can provide you that. Most unique part is our ad design recommendations. To give you a brief idea about what I'm talking about ad design recommendation. So when you're making games and when you are placing ads in the game, do you ever think, if I'm a player, where will I want to see the ads? Like, for example, I'm playing a game. I don't want to see ads every time I pause the game. I'm pretty sure you will also agree with me with that. Do you ever think, like, where will I place the ads so that, I want to see? For example, if you have rewarded video injection points on your user interface saying free coins, 100 free coins, if you see that, is it tempting enough? Or you want to see that when you're playing a game and you're almost dying, you need more life. You want to see an ad to get more life. That's where it's more compelling. And that's where you want to, see. Regarding ad design recommendations, does it mean that we will recommend you to put more interstitial ads in your game? And how will it affect? More interstitial ads means lesser retention. We will never recommend you to put more ads from our side, especially not retention, interstitial. What we will do is, like, we will find injection points for rewarded videos and recommend you. And why will we only recommend rewarded videos for you? Just to give you a brief idea, research done by Top One, in Q1 of 2020, what they have found is very interesting. If you have a casual games and if you're not making enough rewarded videos, you can see this chart. The market is such as this. The games are making almost 40% of their revenue from rewarded videos. If you have a game, casual game, you're not making 40%. This is how much room for improvement you have. If you have a mid-core game, the room for improvement is more than 73%. And if it's a hardcore game, it's almost 100% that you need to change your strategy of, putting ads in the game. So why and what happens when developers actually change their studies, So I have case studies on global, game developers around the world. But I want to pitch about, some game developers that I'm working on from Pakistan. One of them is Folk Technologies. So when they started working with us, I'm specifically talking about a game called Bigfoot Hunting. When they started working with us, their eCPM for Android interstitial was 1.45 or 1.52. Currently, they're making 2.55 or more than that. We have uplifted their eCPM more than 150 times. We have uplifted their revenue by 2 times. And most interestingly, when they started working with us, they were earning $0 from rewarded videos. Exactly $0. There was no single rewarded video in the game. Now they're making $1,300 per month from rewarded video just by using our recommendations. Second case studies is on Aptechmedia, who invited us to speak today. Thank you for that. We have uplifted their revenue by 150% in eCPM in Google Play and almost twice in App Store. Our eCPM, especially for rewarded videos and interstitial, is one of the best that you can find in the market without having nothing to do from your side. So once you start working with us, what can we expect? Definitely more revenue than what you're making now. No work regarding monetization from your side. Your game will be better monetized, like the leaders of the game industry, and your games will get better review in the Play Store. Your ranking would improve with our recommendations, and you will get us full team support, from our side. Yodo1 is much more than an app solution provider. That's what I want to tell you. So whenever you have a lot of games, you have more than 150 titles, try us in one game and you will understand what I'm talking about today. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Hilal, and that's my presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Riyadh. Thank you, Mirko, and thank you, Sonali, for your presentations. Now, I think let's go to the Q&A session and let's answer the questions that our participants have. So we have a few questions. Let's start from the first one. Okay, some questions I have in my private inbox and some in the Q&A session. The first question is, so which of the stores in China should I try publishing my apps that I have already published on Play Store? Based on the publishing question, I think this question is from Sonali Varma. So if you can answer, please.
Yes. So for your question about which of the stores, so the top 30 Android stores such as Oppo, Vivo, Huawei, Xiaomi, But as an overseas developer, you cannot individually publish in China. So you will need a partner for Android store distribution. So yeah.
Well, I think Huawei has a store that's open for the overseas developers also. For the individual.
So in terms of that, is actually Huawei store. There is one for overseas, and there's a Huawei store only for China.
Okay.
So that's a little different. Works differently.
Okay, sure. Let's come back to the second question is from Riyadh, because he mentioned Riyadh. We have been using MAS for quite some time now, and it's so cool. Thank you. The only thing that I wanted to ask is that you guys have only integrated normal AdMob banner in the plugin. So do you guys have any plan for introducing maybe the smart AdMob banner, which has better revenue than the current one? And also maybe to introduce the 3 or 4 more banners from other ad networks based on eCPM, we get that.
Thank you so much for that question. And we're really happy to hear Tahir has a very good experience working with us. So we do currently have more options with banners. We do have smart banners and adaptive banners. So if you upgrade to the latest version of the SDK, you will get that. Apart from that, we're also using other ad networks for banner ads. For example, we're using Applebin, Integral, also Facebook for getting banner ads currently. Thank you. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. So there's an anonymous attendee asked the question that, so you are saying that by using your SDK, we can make use of the local networks and perform better than others?
Thank you for the question, anonymous attendee. So the thing is, it depends, okay? So we are also using the global ad networks. Depends on where your users are from. So I'm not saying we will use the local ad networks for USA, but because in USA, AdMob, Unity, Facebook, ad source all gives the highest eCPM, and the fill rate is almost 100%. I'm talking about China. So in China, local ad networks perform much more and much better than AdMob or Unity. That's about China only, and also about the Russian region. There also the local ad networks perform better. Thank you.
Okay, the other question is from Omer. What is the most played game category in China? I think Mirko or Sonali, you guys decide who want to answer the question.
Yes, so the most played category in China are hyper casual and casual. That is 25% of the whole market share. 25% of 600 plus million players are playing casual and hyper casual. The second one is board games. It's approximately 16 to 17% of the whole market share. Board games such as mahjong or chess, for example, those are very popular in China. The third category, it's strategy. Strategy games that, for cards games, for example, can be strategy games. For example, Hearthstone is a strategy game. And another game from other games from NetEase or Tencent, for example. But these games are also very popular in China. And that is the third category most played. And the fourth one is shooting. For example, PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battleground. The Chinese version is very popular in China, and that's why since 2019, that category became the fourth most played category.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question, and that is, what are your plans for developing plugins for the standalone builds or like Windows or Mac? If there's any possibility you guys are making your ads for that? Because like nowadays when people are, let's explain the question a bit, like people are publishing on Windows Store also and also on the Mac Store. So is there any possibility Yodo is planning to work on that and how to build their plugins for the phone Windows stores and also the Mac games?
I think the question is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. So the answer would be currently there is no plan because the gaming industry or the ecosystem is so big. I think we haven't even penetrated 50% of it. So our current focus is that, and we do want to, maybe in future think about Steam or PC and other form of games. But currently, the answer would be we are only focused currently on mobile games.
Okay, sure. Okay, Umair asked another question. Huawei gives option to publish app in China by some essential documents. What are these? Please elaborate. Can an overseas developer can publish in China through Huawei store? I think from Sonali, we already answered the question, but if you can like answer it again. Unmute your mic. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed your question.
Okay, he's saying that Huawei gives an option to publish app in China by some essential documents. What are these? And please elaborate. Can an overseas developer can publish in China through Huawei store?
So like I said, for overseas developers, you cannot publish your games individually. You will need a Chinese partner. In terms of the ISBN, if you have your local publisher, if you have a China local publisher, they will help you apply for the ISBN, prepare the paperwork and documentation, and apply for one. But the ISBN number, the regulations are getting very strict in the past recent times. So the number of ISBN licenses per year that is given to overseas developers is also getting very limited. And the duration, the time frame for the ISBN can take anywhere between 12 to 18 months. So yes, I mean, your publisher will definitely help you apply for the ISBN license, but yeah, please note that the time frame is extremely long for one.
Okay, so it means like when you are planning to publish a game, you need to apply for the ISBN at their time. So while developing the game, you also get the license.
Yes.
Okay, sure. We have another question. If you want to publish our game under Yodo1 in China, will Yodo1 be publishing the game under their ISBN, or like the developers need to apply for the ISBN? What are the, I think it's from Mirko, I think, or Sonali.
I will take this question.
Okay.
So for the, in terms of the ISBN, so the ISBN is applied by the China local company.
Okay.
As an overseas developer, you cannot use your gaming entity to apply for an ISBN number. So it will be applied by your China local partner.
Okay, sure. So if any developer want to publish their game with Yodo1, like if Yodo1 accepts their game, so then it's Yodo1's responsibility to apply for the ISBN if Yodo1 agrees to publish the developer's game, right?
Yes. If we do get into a publishing partnership, for example, the hit game publishing, then the ISBN is part of our service. But for casual game publishing, we do not apply for ISBN for all the games. It's mostly for pure ads games.
Okay, sure. For the pure ad games, there is no ISBN required.
In some cases, for pure ads games, especially in some Android channels, they allow you to publish a pure ads game without the ISBN. But in terms of iOS, it's still allowed that casual, hyper casual games can be published with solely ads, monetized solely through ads, without the ISBN.
Okay, so another question. So every single IP has its own ISBN and does not belong to the organization. Like the ISBN belong to an IP of the game and not to the organization.
The ISBN does belong to a China local company.
Okay, sure. No. He's saying like it belongs to the game, not the organization. Like if organization gets an ISBN for one game and they are planning to develop another game, they will get an ISBN for the second game also.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
sure.
There's one ISBN number for one game. If the same company applies for, wants to release another game, they need to apply for another ISBN.
Okay, sure. We have another question. When releasing iOS app, we need to provide the link of the app after the game is published, and it takes quite some time for the MAS team to get the link approved, and we miss the ads in the game for the first or second day. So it's a question for Riyadh.
That's a problem that we are trying to fix. So if a game is not live yet, we cannot actually make the ad networks in some ad networks, so they require a live link. So we are working on it. It actually depends on the third party of some ad networks because they are not allowing us to make the account for those games. So we are actually negotiating and trying to find a solution. And if you had that problem, we are actually trying to fix it, and it's the problem from a third-party ad network.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Another question. So if you want to publish not under hit game publishing with Yodo1, we have to take care of the ISBN myself. The developer is asking. So I think there's no ISBN required for that game in every case. Am I right?
So to give you a little bit of a clarification, so the iOS store, so the games that have been delisted are games that are actually paid games and games that have IAPs. Okay, so mostly the casual, hyper casual games that are 100% monetized through ads, most of them are still there. So what we are seeing now is that, you know, when you publish like casual, hyper casual games that are solely run monetized through ads, you do not need an ISBN license. And some Android channels do allow you to publish your games without IAPs and a pure ads version, but it's a very small percent compared to the 30 Android stores. There's hardly maybe 3 or 4 that allow you to publish your game without the ISBN.
Oh, sure, thank you. Okay, which channels for organic and inorganic traffic can I use to promote my apps in China? So it's a promotion question.
Yeah. So in terms of the Android channels, most of the installs and downloads that you see in the Android channels come from organic downloads. Organic downloads come from featuring. So this featuring happens when, you know, the publisher has a very good relationship with all the Android stores, which Yodo1 is very privileged to have. And in terms of the inorganic channels, we use the local UA platforms such as ByteDance and Tencent. And in terms of promotion and marketing activities, what you do is such as influencer marketing on TikTok. So a group of, you know, the influencers pick up your game, they make funny videos, viral videos, and this can drive installs.
Okay, sure. Another question I have is like, okay, we have already answered, Mirko already answered this question, but so what type of games do Chinese play and what is the scenario of publishing an Apple game in China?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the type of games that are most played in China are hyper casual and casual for 25%, 1/4 of the whole market. The second one is board games, such as Mahjong. The third type of game that are most played are the strategic ones, such as Hearthstone. And the fourth type of game that are most played are the shooting. For example, Game for Peace, that is the Chinese version for PlayerUnknown Battleground. For the second part, I think that Sonali can answer.
So in terms of the scenario of publishing an Apple game, a game on Apple Store in China, I would say currently, if your games, to be honest, have IAPs and you want to update your game, I would suggest you remove the IAPs from both the backend and from your game and update and, you know, upload a pure ads version. That is one of the things you can try, but be careful and avoid any prohibited content, such as, you know, games with blood, violence, gambling, any form of gambling or nudity, or, you know, these kind of genres are definitely will get you in, you know, make it more complex. So as long as you avoid all these kind of genres and your games are very casual or, you know, very user-friendly content, then definitely maybe you can try in terms of making it a pure ads version. Yeah.
Sure. We have another question. We normally monetize our games, earn from those games, and then we spend it again through these ad networks, like from the Unity and also some other channels. When we earn those money, we can use it straight away in also promotion of our games. If you don't have any plans or have any such services, like to use our earnings with Yodo1 to promote our game in specific market.
Is it for me?
Yeah, it's for you, obviously.
So you're talking about if we can do some cross promotion inside our game with the earning of your games.
Yeah.
Is that something like that? So yeah. we do have cross promotions in our roadmap. Most probably it's going to happen within this year. We want, so for example, if we make sure that you're getting every impression is getting the highest eCPM, you know, but to make it 100% fill rate, we do also give 5% of the impressions to lower ad networks to make it 100% fill rate. So our plan is to use those 5% in our games to promote our partner in games. So we'll not be charging anything, not like we'll be charging anything. We'll just do it to give some privilege to our, you know, partner in games.
Okay, sure.
And I think I see another question from Umer about how can he get his money out of China if that revenue is from local ad networks. I want to answer that. So when you're using our SDK, the payment will be through us. You don't have to worry about anything. You can use a wire transfer. You can just provide your account. We will collect the payment and just forward it to you, to your account in Pakistan or wherever that account is. So the payment is not a problem, even if it's from local Chinese ad network.
Okay, sure. Now I have a personal question, if I can ask. Yeah, like in the cross promotion and those stuff, if like we want to floor the ECPM, that if the ECPM is below this, so then show our ads, our own ads, or cross promotion ads, else we else show the ads from other ad networks. I think that will be quite better for companies like this. Like if you want to promote our game, if the ECPM is under 0.5 or 0.6 or 0.7, so then show our ads, else you can show the ads from
yeah, I totally understand. It's feasible for studios who are coming with, for example, 40-50 games, and they want to do cross promotion of their own game inside their own game. So in a big game that they have a lot of users, they want to promote a game which don't have a lot of users. So if the plan is like that, for sure it's a feasible idea. And thank you so much for the recommendations. Actually, we are actually coming up with a cross promotion tool. That's why I didn't pitch today. It's on the roadmap.
Okay, that's great. Okay, we have another question. You mentioned some value-added services when using your ad solution, specifically ad design. Can you share how you can help us with that?
Yeah. So for example, we're working with around 1,000 games, and we're working with some big titles. Giving you a specific example, we do have the game Rodeo Stampede. If you play the game, you can see the game is predominantly using rewarded ad videos inside it. So you are playing, you're running with your ox or your deer. If you die, you get an option to watch a rewarded video and then get another life. But we don't show the rewarded video right away. We give them another life first, and then they play. When they die, we show the rewarded video. So we are using different logic of rewarded videos in games. So when I'm working with a similar genre game of that, I would love to use that logic and inject some rewarded videos in your game. We will recommend some injection points in game. So for example, if you play the Bigfoot hunting game before and after with us, you can see now the game has rewarded videos. Before it was not. So that's the logic actually.
Okay,
We use a lot of logics. Yeah.
Okay, sure. We have another question about the game ASO, after optimization. I think it's the marketing question.
Yes.
Is the game ASO working in Android in Android stores, or like how is the ASO done? Is similar to the App Store and the Google Play Store, or the Chinese store has some other tools or concepts or something like that, like for such results visibility?
As you know, App Store optimization on Google Play and App Store. For example, App Store, you have to put the keywords. There's a specific section on the App Store to use the keywords. And those are the most important things in the case of Apple. For Google Play, it's the name of the game, it's the description, the screenshots are very important. And the overall page for your game is super important for the installs. So the difference between overseas and China. In China, a lot of players really like the cute features and the cute images as a screenshot. So one of our suggestions that we give to developers who have the game in China and wants to do App Store optimization is to put these very nice icons on the screenshots, or to feature your very cute characters on the screenshot itself. Also for the names, it's very not suggested to directly translate the name of your game on the App Store. Instead, for example, I'm sure all of you know Asphalt, the racing game. You cannot really translate Asphalt in China. So what the developers did in that case was putting the Chinese name as Street Wild Racing in order to represent what the game was. In our case, Rodeo Stampede, we changed the name of the game in Safari Zoo with animals. So that to give an idea to the players how to represent the game and what the game is about. Another thing is description of the game. For example, in Google Play, you have a long description that describe all the features of your gameplay and what your game is about. Instead, in China, it's very important. The players don't really want to read that much in the game description. They prefer the bullet point styles, one sentence to describe your game, and most of all, they want to see the awards that your game has had during its lifetime. That is in substance how ASO works. On our website, we have several articles about the Chinese market, about UA, about ASO that you can check out after the webinar is finished.
Okay, sure. Thank you. We have another question.
Thank you for the question.
Oh, welcome. Do Chinese use Google Play Store by using VPN services? What is the traffic difference on Google Play compared to all Chinese Play Stores? I mean Chinese Android stores. So is there any percentage of the Google Play downloads in China by any VPN service, or is it allowed in some areas? And what is the percentage between like the Google Play and other Chinese stores?
Yeah. So for your question about do Chinese use Google Play Store by using VPN services, from my experience, it doesn't really work very well, even with the VPN, especially when you try to download it. It does not work as well as it works, when you're outside China. In terms of traffic difference, I'm not very sure about the exact numbers, but as I believe China, is a very big market, and I wouldn't give you an exact number because I'm not very sure about the exact numbers. So I'm very sorry about that.
Well, last time it was about 2-3 years ago, but I was doing some research on some like 1 or 2%, and that's also through VPNs and also all those stuff. So it's not like it's not that much in China, and all downloads come from Chinese app stores. So it's like 1% or even less than that, or maybe 1 or 2%, something like that. But that's not the exact numbers because it's a VPN. So the person who's using VPN is using like from another country, and like from which country it is downloaded. So it's to use the Play Store in China. So I think we should not go for it. Okay, the second question is for games, we normally use the social media to promote our games, as the mostly social media platforms we know in the rest of the world are not in China. So which social media platforms can we target in China?
So the social media platforms that are mostly used are TikTok for sure. Kuaishou is another one. Tencent ads, that is the ads on the Tencent platform. Those are the social media platforms where we suggest and we advise developers to promote their game for UA. That should answer the question.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I think we also discussed in the webinar, what is the Yodo1 looking to publish a game in China? Like, to which games they are looking for to publish in China?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we have a very, I would say quite a high standard and a very strict criteria in terms of the games we choose to publish in China. First and foremost, as you know, the Chinese market, it's not only a very big market, but it's also a very competitive market. So it's very important to find games that are very innovative. We do not usually go for games that are already existing in the market. There should be some level of innovation, games such as Rodeo Stampede. Maybe you can copy some parts of the game, but the mechanics of the game is impossible to recreate. So these kind of games are key in innovation, and gameplay is a very big part. And in terms of the controls, how it appears, the core gameplay, the meta game, everything is quite important in terms of the hit game publishing. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, sure. One last question, because we have only 2 minutes remaining on the webinar. So let's answer this one question from Ravi Tariq. Can I upload the same Android APK on Huawei, and what about the in-apps and Huawei ads? And if I use AdMob, then what is the scenario, and what do you recommend ads for the Huawei store? Let me summarize this question is like all other ads that are working on the Android store, is it working for Huawei or not? And is MAS Yodo1 providing the services of ads in the Huawei stores or not?
Perfect. Thank you. So the answer would be Huawei have an exclusive SDK for their own stores, but we're also talking to them currently to find out if we can also use it.
Oh, sure. I think we are done with the webinar. We have also a lot of questions. I think if we can somehow answer the question on our social media platforms, and we can release a short article on this webinar and answer all those questions which are not answered here. Yes, a lot of questions still remaining, but we are short of time.
I would just like to answer Omer questions.
Sure.
So Omer asked us, what are our services in general? So we have the hit publishing game, that is for the hit games. Then we have the casual games publishing, that is for China only. Katie Play is for all the games that don't need to be hit games. And also MAS doesn't have to be for just hit games. We would just want to help developers better monetize their game and better manage their community for Katie Play. And then we have IP licensing, brands in games, that helps developers in China, help developers that have games in China get the brands injection from Hasbro, for example, for Transformers, which is a huge brand, or Miley, which is a huge brand that can help your game better, have more revenue and have more promotion in China.
Sure. If you guys don't mind, we have one last question that's very important as I see. So we will answer that question, and then we are good to go. On which the retention states you are looking for the ARPU and ARPU and like the daily active user, and also all the like what are the retention stats and also the average revenue and daily users. So if like you can have a short summary of that.
What we see is there will be about a 5 to 10% difference from the global, the game that is published in terms of the stats when published in China. So in terms of retention, for example, casual games, we see retention at day 1 at 50%, day 7 at around 25-30%. So yeah, I mean, there is a slight difference, and definitely on Android, for example, it's a little lower compared to iOS, right? So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think these are very general numbers which every publisher is looking for. Like 50% down retention is like nowadays the standard for hyper casual games. If you don't have the day 1 50% retention, your game will get killed by a publisher. I think it's time to say goodbye to this webinar, and I hope me and Riyadh and also Sonali and Mirko, we will answer the questions in an article, and we'll publish it most probably on Yodo1 website or on our social media links to answer those questions. So thank you, Mirko, thank you, Riyadh, thank you, Sonali Varma, and thank you to all the participants for joining. We have really enjoyed our time and the questions you asked. Hope we have answered all the questions from the speakers correctly. If you guys have any questions, reach them on the social media platforms, mostly on LinkedIn, the most professional website to connect to Yodo1 or Mirko, Riyadh, and Sonali. So thank you, everyone. See you next time in the next webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Such a
Hilal.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. It was a real pleasure.
All as well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.